listening to A Moment of Change with celebrity psychotherapist, author, and life coach Sherry Gaba and Kathleen O'Connor.
Well, welcome back to A Moment of Change on New Sky Radio. This is Sherry Gaba here with Kathleen O'Connor. And our next guest is Craig Hurley. Perhaps he's best known for his television roles in the late 80s on classics such as Nasty Boys and Life Goes On. A former teen idol, Craig Hurley chronicles his roller coaster ride of drugs, sex, and excessive living. Oh, my favorite subject. As a leader of the young Hollywood pack in his new book, 27 and All Washed Up. Unfiltered and raw, Hurley recounts the sometimes humorous and always meaningful story of his years in the fast lane with fellow stars Corey Feldman, Todd Bridges, Corey Haim, and Shannon Doherty, among others, who pursued living on the edge as their worlds crashed around them. We're going to talk to him today about his book, 27 and All Washed Up. Hello, Craig. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Great. I'm so glad that you could join us today on our show.
My phone keeps cutting out, so if I cut out, I'll call.
All right, we'll do the best we can. That's modern day radio as we have it. The first question we always ask, Craig, is what was your greatest, epiphany or greatest moment of change?
My greatest moment of change?
Yes, because our show is a moment of change.
My greatest moment of change was when I decided to do my own thing. When I finally decided to, as an artist, to figure out what it is that I want to do on this planet.
Oh, great. And what was that?
I actually had gotten done, doing a whole bunch of guest starring and regulars on different TV shows, and I didn't like the way things were actually.
I'm sorry, say that again? Can you repeat that? Oh,
I think we lost him.
Oh, he's right. He keeps losing us. All right. Well, hi, Kathleen. Here we are. We're gonna get Craig back on, our guest. But
Sherry, I'm curious, Sherry, because I know you've worked with a lot of people in the entertainment field, and just even the title of his book, 27 and All Washed Up. I mean, what have you seen? What is it about? I guess it's the fame and the adulation that takes so many people down that road of addiction.
Think of the fact that they were young stars, they were young and famous, and they had all this attention and huge fans and great success, and then all of a sudden it stops. So it sort of fills a void, and if they have that addictive personality, or if, they have the genetic predisposition towards that, it's a recipe for a disaster.
So, Craig, I think you're back. This is Kathleen.
Yeah, I'm back.
Great, wonderful.
I'm on a different phone, so hopefully this one won't disconnect.
Okay, well, we've been having trouble, too, with our wireless connection, so it is what it is. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to share your story.
I was doing a play in Chicago. I left California after I was doing about 500 commercials, and as an artist, back to that, what was my moment of change? I was really tired of selling products with my voice and with my face that I don't necessarily believe in, and even though I was good at it, I didn't want to continue to do that. So I left I came back to Chicago from Los Angeles. I spent 17 years in Los Angeles. And then I was in Chicago dealing with some family business because my dad's an engineer. He's a civil engineer, and he's owned his own firm for 40 years. And they were having a hard time with the way the economy is and the way everything's going. And he's 70 years old, so he wanted to retire, and I needed to settle that family business. Are you guys there?
Yes.
All right.
Cool. Wow. I was just hoping that the connection's still here. Sorry. And while I was in Chicago helping out my family, Wheaton Drama had auditions for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I've loved the play. I've been in love with that play since I was a kid, and I have always wanted to play any part in that play. And I had just missed, when I moved back to Chicago, I just missed Steppenwolf's auditions for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I was like, oh, nah, almost. But Wheaton did it right after that. So I went and auditioned, and they cast me in the part of Billy Bibbit. And Billy Bibbit is an integral part of the cast. He's the guy that commits suicide at the end of the play, and he really is the play. And it's not so much about McMurphy, because McMurphy doesn't really have, that's the Jack Nicholson character, he doesn't really have any redeeming qualities except for the ones that Billy Bibbit finds. And so I really I went and auditioned for the play. They gave me that part. And then while I was doing the play, an actor that was in the play with me, Zach Wilson, he kept bothering me, and because he would be like, tell me about beating up Luke Perry on 90210. And inevitably there were 18 members of the cast, and 18 people would be standing around all listening to me tell the story. And so Zach kept following me around, and he kept going, bro, you have to put these down on paper. You got to, you got to write a book about all these stories, because we don't get to experience this. The only way we're going to ever hear about what this is like is via you, or people like you that have experienced it. And I was just like, no, I'm not writing a book. There's just too much. There's no way I'm doing it. And he, for the entire run of the play, just kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. And one day he asked me to record the interview and interview me, and he said he'd go down my resume and that we would just talk about the entertainment industry and try to keep everything personal out of this. Right in the middle of this, I have a siren going by. I don't know how loud this is going to get.
It's okay.
Sorry about that.
No, we're gonna actually go to break in a couple minutes.
Wait, I can't hear you. This is getting really loud, actually.
Whoa. Well, we're actually going to go to break in a couple of minutes, but, Kathleen and I were discussing when you were not on with us, just about what is it about the drugs, the sex, and the excessive living that goes on, that has gone on for many of your colleagues.
I'm sorry, one more time.
No, we were talking earlier about the drugs, the sex, and the excessive living that
right.
went on with many of your colleagues. Many of the
right.
actors that I mentioned earlier. What is that about? I mean, I talk about how there's that success early on, and then there's this period where there may not be as much success. And so, what's that all about?
Yeah, that does happen to a lot of us. For some reason, younger celebrities tend to not grow through it, from what I can see. And it's like, I don't know if it's that we no longer as fans accept them as the actor that they are, or I don't know what the real transition is. I just know that I was able to make it through that, because I haven't really physically changed that much. And my personality is still the same. And and as far as an artist, I was just like, I'll just shift gears. If it doesn't work for me on camera, then I'll just shift over to using my voice. And so, I did that for forever. And then I decided not to do it anymore because I was just done. I was just tired of it. And like I said before, selling products that I don't necessarily believe in, and I can't ethically do that. I have a real problem with a lot of the celebrities, so-called selling out, even though they can't. They're trying to just work just the same way as everybody else. But I just have a real problem with people promoting things that are not ethically good for this planet or good for this country. So
thank you, Craig. Thank you for that. I can't wait to hear more about this. We're actually going to go to break now. This is
Okay.
A Moment of Change.
Listening to A Moment of Change with celebrity psychotherapist, author, and life coach Sherry Gaba and Kathleen O'Connor.
Hi, welcome back. This is Kathleen O'Connor with Sherry Gaba. You're listening to A Moment of Change, and we've been talking with Craig Hurley about his new book, 27 and All Washed Up. And Craig, my question is, when did the book come out? I assume it's a new release, and I'm wondering what the response has been and what it is you hope that the people reading it will get from reading the book. What is it you want them to understand?
I self-published it a year ago, and it was August 6th a year ago. And I developed my own website, and it's craighurley.tv. And what was the second part of that? What was the second
wanted
question?
to know what the response has been to the book and what it is you hope that the reader will get out of the book.
I've had a whole bunch of people respond and that have read it, and I've had nothing but good things. All the reviews have been excellent on it, and everybody says that they enjoyed the roller coaster ride that 27 and All Washed Up is. And it really is. I try to write it that way. I actually went back to when Zach Wilson was bugging me about writing the book. He eventually was like, why don't you, I'm going to sit down and interview you. And then we did that. And, first he was like, I was like, no interview and none of that. And I don't want to do the book. And he turned to me and he's like, Craig, no interview, no book, no book tour. And I was just like, all right, dude, whatever, I'll do it. And he's like, it's a great way to make some money if you're, not that I need it, but he was just like, everybody else around me does. So he's like, I really want to hear your stories too. So we sat down over a 3 or 4 year period of time at 20 different times recording me, and we came up with 27 and All Washed Up. And I, with the help of a co-producer friend of mine, William A. Finke, he and I sat down and transposed all of the tapes and all of the notes that I had written, and we spent the better part of a year doing that. And then Nicole Borge, who is a graphic artist, she is just a mutual friend of mine. She was reading part of it because she was helping out with Scrappy Co-Productions, which is the production company that I'm president of. And she goes, you got to add images. And I've got all of these images from all these different things that I did, from celebrity guests at the opening of Universal Studios Orlando, and just all of this stuff. And so we just started adding images, and then it was another year after that before we were able to actually print something out and create a book. And I really like the feeling of a book as opposed to ebooks, because a whole bunch of people have been like, dude, just put it on ebooks. It's so much cheaper for everybody. I'm like, no, everybody's staring at their Kindles for, 12 hours reading a book? Come on. It's a physical experience. Holding a book, there's warmth to it, and there's all of that. You're really into the adventure. And so got all that done, and then found a place to print it out, and had a number of publishers that have already been trying to publish it. And I don't like the cut that they take. They take a huge percentage, and I'm just, I did all this work with the help of these other people, and I'd rather just see us create that and get it out there and market it the right way. So, and that's what we've been doing.
And the publishing industry anyway is changing so much, and so it's great if you can do that as a collaborative process. So what would you, if somebody's just at this point that the people that you were with at the time you were with is an actor now. What is it you want them to know? What are the pitfalls they should avoid? Or, you talked about values, and it can be hard to do work aligned with your values when you also need to put food on the table.
It's extremely difficult, especially with the way reality TV is now. Everybody wants to see real-life drama, and that's not what it's about for me as an artist. I try to take people out of their crappy realities for 2 hours, and give them an opportunity to feel something else, and no matter what it is, if it's pain or if it's comedy, if they're laughing. And that's
I take
why
it, Craig, that
I'm sorry,
you're not. I take it that you're not a big fan of reality TV.
Of what?
You're not a big fan of reality TV.
No, I'm not a big fan of reality TV at all. The shows where they're kind of helping people, some of that I see is okay, but as far as the Jersey Shores and The Bachelor, I mean, come on, I can't see why people would even do this. Or even watch it. Most of it is completely made up. Most of it's completely scripted and just crap. And to waste your time on this life, it's so precious anyway. But that's all we have is this life right here, right now, this. And to waste it on a half hour of something that isn't real in the first place, then what are you doing? You're just sitting there and letting the cable TV wash over you. That doesn't make any sense to me. I wanted to get back to what I wanted people to learn from 27 and All Washed Up. I wrote that specifically as a text. If there are any actors or any entertainers in any way, if they want to be editors, if they want to be directors, if they want to be producers, whatever it is, whatever facet they want to fill in the entertainment business, I've pretty much done all of that. And I can, if you follow like the path that 27 and All Washed Up takes you on, then you can, you take like the names of the people that you're dealing with right now on the step of the ladder that you're on, and you put them to the side, and it's like, oh, well, this guy is very similar to this guy that Craig was dealing with, so this is obviously where I'm at on the ladder. And you can then, choose to take whatever path you want to in the entertainment business.
Craig, I think this is great to have that additional piece to your book, because I think it can be inspirational for a lot of people that do aspire to get into the business. And I think, you're giving them a real honest look at what they can expect. Tell us again where they can find... Well, tell us again where they can find your book and your website, and then we have to part ways. But thank you so much for joining us today, Craig, and make sure our listeners know how to find your book.
No problem. CraigHurley.tv is my website, and that's where you can purchase the book as well.
Fantastic.
And thank you guys so much. I really appreciate this, and you guys are lovely. I thank you for being so nice.
Oh,
thank you, Craig.
Okay, well, this is A Moment of Change.
Listening to A Moment of Change.